Passenger.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. You know, Hollywood has given us a lot of wonderful movies. Movies that inspire us to become greater than we think we can become. Movies like 300, The Gladiator, Troy, Roman and Greek heroes that we aspire to become. Heroes like Clark W. Griswold in Christmas Vacation. Now, some of you may not aspire to be Clark W. Griswold, and neither did I 7 years ago after the birth of my youngest daughter. But that Christmas, I was determined to make that the best Christmas ever. And because my circle of family was complete, that's what I had set out to do. So like Clark W. Griswold, what's the first thing? Got to put up some Christmas lights, right? So, if one string of Christmas lights is good, then depleting the inventory of Hardware Hank is even better. My father-in-law had introduced me to these wonderful plastic clips that you can now buy, that you can slide into your eaves or along your gutter and just clip all your Christmas lights in there. And I had them all. I had the icicle lights from the side, I had the white lights along the border of the house, I had white globes in the front of the house, I had multicolored lights in the bushes. I even had green lights around the trunk of each tree with red bulbs hanging from each branch. It was awesome. I was getting calls from Buffalo Airport going, hey, can you turn them down? Aircraft, I wonder where to land. And I knew I was the envy of the neighborhood. You know, in the first week, December, a 3-foot wreath arrived from the Boy Scouts. And I was all excited. I wrapped this thing up with white lights. I was going to make this thing a white Krispy Kreme donut hanging from the tip of my garage, peeking all of my Christmas lights. My wife comes walking out in the garage. She said, honey, why don't we get a real Christmas tree this year? We've never had a Christmas tree, a real one. And everybody in the cul-de-sac always gets a real tree. Why don't we do that? I stood up like the Kris Kringle character in the claymation, Santa Claus is coming to town. I'm a real man, Tanta Georgia, and I will go ahead and get those toys to you for Christmas. So I said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get a real Christmas tree. So I packed up all my hunting tools, my tarp, my rope, my saw, packed them into my hunting vehicle, family minivan, set out to do a very dangerous thing, and that was go out hunting alone. Hunting alone, I say, because my wife couldn't go. She had to stay back with the kids. And secondly, I was hunting alone, dangerously, because I was about to pick out an item that was going to decorate our living room for a significant amount of time without my wife's direct input. But she told me what she was looking for specifically. It had to be full-bodied with the aroma of pine and scent. It had to be at least tall enough to reach the tip of our ceiling. So I set out to the local tree farm, and as I raised the garage door, there was not snow falling from the sky like White Christmas, but an ice storm had moved in, and the sleet was pounding the street surface, but I was determined I was going to go out and get that tree. So I set out alone and went down to the local tree farm and drove around for about 20 minutes because everything had already been picked over, and found what I thought was a perfect specimen. Climbed out of my vehicle, and fortunately I had my Colombian winter coat on, which is nylon, repelling all the moisture, and the nylon hood. But it sounded like I was living in a snare drum. This pelting sleet just so loud I could barely even hear anything, let alone think. Found this tree, got my saw, hacked away at the bottom of it, and with my $1.50 frame, manhandled the beast of that dressed out at about 7 feet, threw it in the back of the van, because my family was hungry for the scent of pine. So I got home, pulled it out of the van, set it up in the garage. My wife came out and said, that's a beautiful tree, honey. Well done, Dan. Well done, Clark. Good job. Honey, I'm going to put it in the tree stand. I'll bring it right in. Okay. So I got ready to put it in the tree stand. It wouldn't fit. Lo and behold, there was a Y branch at the bottom of the tree. Any of you who don't know anything about real trees, that's a problem. Be like, as soon as I cut it off, it'd be like me handing you a cake that I just took a big huge bite out of the side. Sure enough, I cut it off, and this thing's all dilapidated. I'm like, oh, I gotta fix this before she comes out and drive. Well, by the time I fixed it to fit in the tree stand, this 7-foot tree was It's now shorter than my 5'9" frame. My wife came out of the garage with tears pooled in her eyes. What happened? What did you do? And I tried desperately to explain. Just forget it. Just put it in the front yard. Just put it by the garbage can. I don't even want to look at it. We'll put it. I said, I can't put it out there. It's 3 weeks till Christmas. Might as well put a big banner out that says, "Loser can't cut own tree." So what did I do? What any self-respecting man would do, who had just committed a murder he didn't mean to. I dismembered the corpse limb by limb, discreetly disposed of it in my backyard. But I was determined. I was going to get that wreath hung up. I was going to have a good Christmas. So I threw the wreath over my shoulder. I grabbed my neighbor's ladder, and in that pelting sleet, put it up against the garage. Climbed the ladder, hung it up the wreath, climbed down the ladder. As I pulled the ladder away from the house, a big, huge, white Krispy Kreme donut slid over the top of the ladder and like a donut down the pole, slid down to my arms. And over the pounding sleet, I could hear those clips give way. Pop, 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 pop. I looked left to me, lights on the ground, left to the right of me, lights on the ground. I grabbed the ladder and threw it! Victory! At least that's what I did in my mind. I realized as I stood there frozen in the rain, the ladder was not mine. And all my neighbors had to have seen everything that just happened in broad daylight. So in a reserved mood, I set the ladder down, took the wreath off, put the ladder back up, and spent the next hour putting back all my Christmas lights in this pelting, icy storm. Walked back into the house, and fortunately for my wife, she'd known me long enough. She saw that crazed expression on my face when I walked through the door. Not only did she not talk to me, she knew better than to even look at me. I went upstairs, changed my clothes, came downstairs and said, "Honey, I need a deep, dark cup of hot chocolate filled to the brim with peppermint schnapps and marshmallows, and we're going to sit down and we're going to watch Clark W. Griswold, because I just got to see somebody having a worse Christmas vacation than I am, even if it's just a movie."